are watching Illume TV, Igniting the Heart's Intelligence. I am Kelly Marlowe. Today we have Ashanna Solaris with us. She focuses on helping people to clear their static, whether it's worrying, negative thinking, or a racing mind. The goal is to release what we're holding on to that's holding us back. Welcome, Ashanna. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Kelly.
Can you tell us how Clarity Breathwork helps people to release what they're holding on to that's holding them back?
Sure. It helps on so many levels, and it helps because most of us don't breathe fully. And we hold the breath, and we might have been holding the breath since the first breath, when often the cord is cut too soon, baby's hung upside down and spanked to get the breath in the body. And so often the first breath can be a breath of terror. Our greatest mammalian fear is to not be able to breathe. And many of us had that experience right away at the birth. And then we see throughout childhood, as various imprinting and traumas happened, that the mammalian behavior is to hold the breath and to stop and to really go into almost a state of freeze until the danger has passed. So once we start returning the breath back to the body and into our awareness, all that has been held back and suppressed is allowed to start to come out and be released. And with Clarity Breathwork, it's a very safe technique of breathing that very gently starts to kind of tease out of the system the fear and the shock and the shame and the anger and all the things that we've been holding. You know, we haven't had a lot of emotional training. I don't remember one class at school, you know, when I was a kid, where we learned how to work with our emotions, our feelings, or our thoughts, or our minds. And so we need education, we need training, we need healing to give us avenues to release these things we've held inside. And then healing naturally occurs because it's organic within the being itself. So when we come to a safe space and we come to the power of the breath to heal ourselves, and we start breathing and feeling, all that we've been holding on to naturally wants to be released. The system wants to come into integration and well-being. So if we give it a way, a safe space to let go, then healing is organic and happens naturally.
Okay, so the Clarity Breathwork is different from other breathwork.
Yes, there's many different types of breathwork healing out there, and it's really expanding and growing. It's kind of a booming healing art these days with Omega Institute and all over the world. But the unique path of Clarity Breathwork that I've pioneered with the co-creator Dana Dharma Devi is very much a gentle approach to breathing. And so it's more of an embracing and allowing and surrendering. We would call it more of a feminine healing art. That allows, rather than a cathartic release. So we don't tend to want to push or force the breath or over-breathe, but it's more of a gentle allowing of the breath to re-enter the organism and the person's mind, body, spirit.
Yeah. So I was fortunate enough to experience this with Ashanna and Dana last night. And what was really interesting was I've never done breath work, especially for 1 hour. Is it always 1 hour?
Yes, usually about 1 hour.
And why is it 1 hour?
It seems like an hour is a good time to have like a complete cycle of breath. So it's a session has kind of a certain trajectory that we're looking for, which is the first 15 minutes you're kind of just getting used to breathing that way. You're starting to just kind of de-stress or defrag the system from everywhere that it's been. And then you're starting to drop in and maybe having some emotional release, physical sensations, release in the body. And that's about a half an hour of just releasing, letting go. And then usually the last quarter is integration, insights, awakening, you know, awarenesses of expanded sense of self, expanded sense of connection to the cosmos, to infinity, as you heard one woman talk about last night.
Yes.
So it takes about an hour really to go through that whole journey.
Okay. I didn't think I could get through 1 hour.
Right, most people don't, but then it goes much faster.
Right. I thought I was going to run out of the room by time it was 30 minutes. So I was amazed when the countdown was 7 minutes. and then I had this incredible experience.
Oh.
And what was even more amazing to me was the entire room was weeping. Everybody who participated in this event, they were all weeping. It was like an incredible release. I've never seen anything like it in terms of how they're releasing through this breath work. Can you tell me what is it about this particular experience that allows them to release at that level?
I think it's the safety that we really establish in the room by beginning with movement and dance and getting in our bodies and mantra, sacred mantra. We sang a Divine Mother chant that's a 5,000-year-old mantra. We meditated together. We did one-on-one sharing together. So by the time we lay down, we're connected as a community. And we really need to heal together, actually, in community, because that's often where the woundings happened, was with other people. So when we create safety together and we have permission to let go and release, and we're doing that in a very intentional, prayerful way, that we're inviting. Do you remember last night? We're inviting, you know, the Great Spirit that we are to breathe us, to heal us, to release us from our suffering. And so Spirit moves through the room. You know, Dana and I are there guiding with our love and our many, many decades of experience. But it's really the energy that's created together with the group, with the elements, with the universe, that we want healing. We want awakening. And the earth needs our tears and needs us to let go of what we've been holding, so that she can use us as instruments to help her to evolve and to help our species really to evolve. So we want that, and these kinds of safe circles are happening all over the planet right now. And it's really exciting, and people like you that walk in and go, you know, I'll breathe for half an hour and that's it, I'm out of here. Businessmen, you know, CEOs, people from all walks of life are coming in and just kind of laying down their burdens and letting them go and finding a safe space to heal and let go. And once we know it's safe, once the mammal knows it's safe, it will release the freeze, the flight. Yours was flight. I'm out of here. You know, that's an old flight in your system. Somebody else may have, wait a minute, I don't really like, that's their fight coming out. Once those are allowed to discharge, then incredible insight happens. And I'd love to hear about your insight that happened if you want to share it.
Oh, yeah, it was on so many levels. There was another interesting aspect, though, to the process, which was partnering up with someone else. Yeah. And what I realized that it was a mirroring process that was going on.
Yes.
So could you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, the partnering is really important because we're not even used to really engaging and looking in the eyes of a fellow human being and sharing authentically and vulnerably. We've been taught in our culture to put on a mask, to present a certain image, and that can be incredibly lonely and isolating. Because we are a tribal species. We have eons of time living in community, naked, you know, seeing each other and being seen. And so that is a huge part of the healing, is just sharing our authentic truth and hearing someone else's and realizing that we're not that different, actually. And you might have noticed that in the process. We're not that different. We're all processing some similar thread of fear, separation, isolation, and loneliness. And when we can share that and be received and witnessed by another human being, the holy instant can happen. You know, that the Course in Miracles talks about, where we start to awaken to the conscious witnessing that happens, the light that is in you sees the light that is in me. You know, the true essence of the Namaste prayer. And then that echoes and ripples through the entire being. All those places that felt alone and separate start to take a deep breath and go, oh, maybe I am connected. Maybe it is safe. You know, I'm so passionate about the topic because there's so many interferences in our bonding patterns in our Western culture. And because of the interferences of our bonding bonding, we have a hard time connecting with each other. And all kinds of trips and walls come up when we go to connect. So what we're doing with Clarity Breathwork and our whole training program is really working at dissolving some of those walls and boundaries so that we can be ourselves, be received, be seen, be heard, heal, and come back into communion with each other again.
Especially connecting at that level when you first meet someone, right? To really just lay
Drop
out
in.
all your I don't know the best way to put it, whether it's issues or just the pain. I think the best way is to put it is the pain that everyone is coming and sharing with each other to start, which that was amazing too.
Yes,
because I'm not used to doing that. Right?
To have permission to share what's real.
Right.
What's really going on. I just heard a quote from Ram Dass that his dear friend of many years, Stephen Levine, who wrote many books on death and dying and helped many people cross over, said, you know, we don't allow grief in our culture. And it's our greatest untapped resource that we have. And Stephen suggests that we have grief temples all over our cities, our countries, where people can just go in and personally grieve and collectively grieve, so that we allow space for that. We're an electronic age. We're on our cell phones. We're on our computers, and it's very dangerous. And I can speak from experience because we just had a dear friend in our community who brought so many people together and organized these wonderful village tribal experiences, and she recently took her life. And so our entire community is reverberating with, how did that happen? How did someone that had such a vision of community and coming together feel so isolated and alone? And part of it was she was on her equipment all the time, you know, organizing and bringing these things together, but she wasn't able to have the level of bonding and love that she needed. So we feel the call for our work even more greatly increased right now as a result of her passing.
It's so interesting you say this, because the other day I was walking down the street. This young boy was on his phone. And I was thinking to myself, people can't even look at each other in the eye anymore, just walking down the street at the market, and they all have to look busy and occupied, which I think is very strange, right? That you can't look up and even just glance at someone now, or say hi.
Right. That's why it's so important that we have these groups and these ceremonies and these gatherings happening, you know, daily. I mean, that's also why I go to the dance floor as often as possible, because I find in the community of dance, where we have 100 to 150 people dancing together every week, and we're moving and dancing and meeting beyond the mind, looking in each other's eyes, helping each other, that a phenomenal, you know, thing is taking place. And that's why we bring a lot of the dance and embodiment practices into the Clarity Breathwork workshops and training, to help each other, you know, reconnect through our bodies instead of just through our minds.
So Clarity Breathwork is more than just breathwork. There's dance, and we haven't mentioned music.
Yes.
With your partner, Dana.
Yes.
Can you tell us a bit about that?
Sure. You know, we're kind of looking for a new name because it's way more than Clarity Breathwork. The breathwork is the main event, but it's really about an hour or so of the whole, say, the day long or the evening. And so we like to build the energy, as I said, with the dance and the movement to get ourselves in our bodies and out of our minds and more connected to our bodies and connected to the ground and the earth. And we often stand in sacred circle together, and Dana will bring out her double-headed chocolate cedar flute and do an invocation. And the flute opens the heart. So we're using all of these ceremonial elements, really, that are helping us to open the heart, helping us to become an instrument ourselves, because that's really ultimately what it's about, is becoming an instrument for the one, the divine, that is flowing through us, rather than the individual, you know, me-go that is trying to run the show and wreaking havoc in the world. So then Dana will lead us through kirtan, which is usually 5,000 plus year old mantras and chants in the ancient language of Sanskrit. And it's really an invocation to call in divine energy to flow through us, and to remember that we are the temples. We are the temples of the living God and Goddess. And it moves a lot of energy, and it unites us in singing. And we are singers, and we are dancers. So we're bringing back these ancient arts that connect us and help us to commune with the divine. And then Dana will go into just playing her flutes, and I'll start channeling a guided meditation that's just specifically designed in the moment for that particular group and what we need to open to.
This music that comes from Dana,
Yes.
it is so beautiful,
Yes.
so inspirational. One doesn't just hear it, like one really feels it inside,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the event to me wasn't just about breath work.
Right.
It was about community.
Yes.
It was about freeing it out of your body,
Yes.
guided meditation to really go deep and really clear and find peace. Is there anything else that I'm missing?
You talked about the partner sharing.
Yes,
That was
the
powerful for you.
partnership.
Mhm,
Oh, well,
mhm.
the community aspect.
Community aspect.
Right.
Mhm.
Is there anything that you're going to add in the future?
Well, the wonderful thing about Clarity Breathwork is that it's always evolving, and we're always bringing new things into it based on what's inspiring to us and where our edge of growth is happening. And Dana's music has really evolved over the past few years because she had a very serious accident, and they didn't think she was going to be able to play again. I was there in the hospital at 4 a.m. and the doctor said she'll be disabled for life. And Dana just won't stop. You know, she is really an embodiment of Durga to me. And she really fought for it. And she works with a Croatian healer named Bratzo, who heals through eye gazing. And she usually plays for him. And he said, well, come on down. And she said, I can't play. And he said, come and be in the energy. And there was no way she couldn't even pick up her flute before she went there. And during the weekend at one point, she just got the guidance, pick up your flute and play. And she picked it up and started playing. So it was a true miracle. And since that time, Dana's music has completely shifted. It was always deep and profound, but now there's something that comes through her flutes and her music that came through her own, you know, her own grace, her own fall, and then choosing again, not believing the story that she was damaged or the story that she was broken. And it's so much what we're here to help people see is no matter what's happened to you, no matter what trauma you've gone through, you're not broken. Keep going further, keep reaching, keep opening. So I think that's the invitation that Dana's music offers. And it also brings people into a deep state of stillness and peace. So it's beautiful for me to get to sit beside her again and again and chant and sing with her and bring through guided meditations along with her as she's bringing through the music.
So for our viewers, if there was something they could do, simple, each day, it's like you were saying, it's simple but yet profound. What would you suggest they do? Is there a breath, a type of breath work that you can recommend them doing 5 minutes a day?
Absolutely.
Or, how about giving us a little clip of
taste.
something that they can
Sure.
practice at home that they can feel a difference
Yeah,
with?
absolutely. So one thing is just to practice the circular breathing technique. And so I did it this morning. I just sat up in my bed as soon as I woke up. And you're sitting in your bed. You might set an intention or a prayer for your day. And then you're going to just start connecting your breath. So you're going to relax your jaw, open your mouth. And it's a circular connected breath without pauses between the inhale and the exhale, or the exhale and the inhale. It's just one continuous connected breath, like the ocean coming in, the ocean going out. So just sitting up and sitting at your altar, setting your intention, and then it would just look like breathing all the way into the heart and chest. Completely relaxing on the exhale, so there's no forcing or pushing. Just like that, and then allowing whatever's there. Rumi spoke about this being human as a guest house. You know, one day a sadness, one day a joy, one moment a terror. So we're just breathing into, you know, the excitement of the day, you know, the interview or what's possible today, or the beauty of the day. We're breathing into the loss of a friend or a pet or the anticipation, and we're just being the breath that is witnessing all of our experience. And after 10 minutes, your body could be tingly, alive, regenerated, more energy, more aliveness in every cell of your body. It oxygenates the blood. Cancer can't exist in an oxygenated environment. It alkalizes the blood. We know that disease doesn't grow in an alkalized body. And it opens up all the channels and all the portals and all the chakras. And then throughout the day, to really take deep breaths when we're sitting in traffic, when we're in front of the computer screen. Some people set their timers, every hour. I think there's even an app now, like a breath app, that reminds you to breathe, every hour, to just take a breath. And Pema Chodron says, never underestimate the desire to bolt. Like when we're running out the door, stop and take a breath. And one of my favorite quotes from Dana is, one breath can save a marriage. One breath can save a life. One breath can save your job. Because if you can just pause and take that breath first.
And a real breath.
And a real breath.